Here we have a 2012 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited that we just did some system improvements to. Want to take a walk around. This Jeep is absolutely sick. He did a lot of performance enhancements before he brought it to us. I just love this spare tire. It's got the snorkel on it. It's got the big wheels. Thing is mean. Want to briefly show you what we did. You see the spare tire back here? That's the original third brake light. We added this backup camera. This vehicle did not have a backup camera on it. And as a brief little overview, you can see, looking at the rearview mirror, turn it down for a second here. We'll get to the stereo enhancements in a moment, but you can see that you cannot see out of this back vehicle. So he wanted to keep a very OE feel and appearance, and you'll notice that he has the OE My Gig radio. We were able to add a attachment to the OE radio that makes the OE radio go to a rear camera view, so when he goes into reverse, he has his camera view. And it's also possible to go into the camera view through the menus as you're driving if you wanted to. It's a lock pick that we use for that. Everything else with this is factory, so all of his iPod controls and everything are factory, which is pretty cool. And right now I'm playing some music on his iPod. One of the things that Jeep did really, really well on these vehicles is that right from the factory, these vehicles came with enclosures for the front speakers, whereas they didn't used to. They used to just be a 4x6 inch speaker, you know, with nothing behind them, and Jeep really redesigned these cars nice. This is a full enclosure behind here, and I can post some pictures to show you what that enclosure looks like. And they do these tweeter pods right from the factory, which is awesome, because I've done tweeter pods like that aftermarket in a lot of cars, but it really gets your sound stage up nice and high, even though the low frequency drivers are down by your knee. In the back, Jeep had these sound bars and for the rear listeners, and they worked out pretty good. And now we don't have OE speakers in here, but I'm going to get to that in a second. And so opening this back door, they also had a subwoofer enclosure back here. Now this has been changed. This is no longer the OE speaker. And so now you can see the finished look. We put a Kenwood shallow mount 8-inch 4-ohm. It's a carbon fiber speaker, high excursion, hits the lows really nicely in a small sealed box, which is what this enclosure was. The factory speaker was a paper cone speaker made to be super efficient, so you could run it off of very little power. Power is not an issue for us anymore, so I'll get to that in a moment. But what we did was we retrofitted this Kenwood speaker in here. We actually used a JL audio grill and a custom trim ring to make the grill fit into the bezel, and that helps protect the woofer from the obvious abuse that it's going to get in a vehicle like this. One of the things that was important to the client and myself was that we don't have any electronics below grade. And what's below grade in a vehicle like this? Well, you know, if you're going to do mudding, you can sometimes get moisture coming up on the floor. So this would have been a good location for most people for an amplifier, not for this vehicle. So we decided that we would give it a second look. I listened to the OE system. The OE system was okay. Actually, I think they could have done quite a bit better with what they had in place. But back up in here is where the OE amplifier is. I don't know if I'm getting that right now, but we basically left that OE amplifier to run the rear speakers, but we tied into the front woofer and the front tweeters, and then we cut the subwoofer from it. And what we did was we took the signal coming out of that OE woofer, the OE amplifier, and we ran it over. We modified the glove box. So what happens is the signal runs into this bit 10 processor. This bit 10 processor then takes the front speakers and the front tweeters signal in, and it normalizes the signal to give us a full range signal to use. It connects to a computer via this USB cable, and I've already fine-tuned it all. But essentially what we did was we took we normalized the signal coming out of the radio to get a clean signal, and then we equalized the signal so that it sounds good, and we time align the signal so that when you're sitting in the driver's seat, it makes it sound as though the image or the singer is right up in front of you there. Oh, there's my sign. So it goes through this Audison Bit 10, and you notice that we modified the glove box. So we took the original glove box backer off. We made this little stop cable here so you can open it up. It still fits the OE Jeep material, so you can fit the Jeep material in there. You know, we ran the signal into this, and then out of this, after it's all EQ'd, processed, crossed over, everything, runs into this new Kenwood amp. This Kenwood amp is put in upside down, so you can kind of see there how it is. Actually, no, it's right side up. My apologies. Right side up, so the heat sink's on the top. Key thing is that this thing has a fan. So this fan right now is blowing, you know, mildly warm air. But essentially, it has all our gain adjustments right on the front, so it's a perfect fit for this vehicle because we can get in and we can set all of our gain settings and everything right here. But again, everything is up off the floor, so if he does get rained, he's, you know, out in town, got the top off, it rains, now he's got, you know, a bunch of rain because it was a thunderstorm. He doesn't have moisture sitting on the floor and corroding this, so it makes it still very, very industrial. Now this amplifier is 60 watts by 4 plus 400 by 1. And the way that I decided to configure it was to take the 60 watts by 4 and bridge them so that we got 240 by 2. To me, the rear speakers are not as important. We have a set of Hertz high energy components up here, and these high energy components can take a lot of power and a lot of abuse. They're a cast aluminum frame chassis driver with a carbon fiber cone. They're a silk dome tweeter with a low FS. The tweeters fit nearly perfectly in the OE spot that the OEM speaker was in. Even the grills, it looks like they made it to match the Jeep Theory. So when it's all said and done, we now have a system that looks and feels totally original equipment, but gives us, and I apologize because this is certainly not going to do it justice, but I mean, it gives us just amazing output. I don't know what we got here for some music. We'll go through his playlist, see what we got. Little Dave Matthews. Lots of volume, lots of volume. You can tell it's got a lot of volume. Teeny little 8-inch sub, but with lots of power. Great interior speakers. He's gonna love it, and you need that volume when you're driving down the road with that top off at 55 miles an hour. You need the volume, you know. And here in the parking lot, it sounds like it's way overkill, but I can tell you from experience, it's really not way overkill. When you're listening to a tune you like, you need that there. And the OEM speakers, the OEM amplifier, they just don't cut it in a vehicle like this. But here you have it. Best of breed as far as everything that we put in it. I wouldn't change a single thing given any budget if it was mine, because this is ideal. You know, the amp fit perfect, the processor fit perfect, the sub fit perfect, the speakers fit perfect. I mean, of course there was modification, but that's what we do. Audio Obsessions. Give us a call. Thanks.